Hey folks, B59 here. Welcome back to my Piasa transport playthrough, Transport Fever 2. And we're sitting here at Cincinnati, waiting for the passenger ferry to come in. And what we're seeing is that we're about to pick up 69 people, but this branch, the Cincinnati branch dock, is overflowing. So even with a small ship, it can't get to capacity without overflowing because this passenger ferry holds 70, and at 69 we're already overflowing. So this is a problem, and I think what we're going to end up doing here is putting big docks, replacing these small docks with big docks, and see if we can get around this issue with that. And it's going to have some other benefits as well. I think it may enable us, if we use the bigger docks, to go ahead and run multiple lines into some of these places that where the lines aren't necessarily always full. We're going to experiment. I'm still not sure how all of this works. I've seen suggestions that when you have two small docks back to back, that it increases the capacity, but that's, I believe, what we have here, and I'm not seeing it have any positive impact on that. So I'm going to let this boat come in, unload. It has 59 people on it, and load up, and then once it leaves the harbor, we're going to go ahead and see if we can swap out that small dock for a big dock. I made a couple of other minor changes offline as well, and I'll quickly speak to those. So down in Evansville here, you'd probably noticed that I had screwed up the creation of this line and had designated trucks here to pick up refined oil, but we're at an oil well that has crude oil. So I switched that and got these trucks moving again. And I also put in a line from the oil refinery to over here to supply the fuel refinery. I know we had talked about maybe running a riverboat here, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought it really made more sense to just go ahead and put a truck line in, and so that's what we've done. So let's see, how are we back here in Cincinnati? The boat has left the station. Now, before we get a whole bunch more passengers, I'm just going to pause this briefly while I make this change, and hopefully this will work. And let's see, first of all, yeah, it's not going to go that way, at least with just the one dock out. Hopefully we'll get there with the two docks out. Oh. Interesting. They'll do it there, but not over here. You know, I wonder. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can do this. And it's not very pretty because of the. Wow, we're gonna have to do some significant terrain generation to make that work. Well, let's see what we can do. We'll increase the strength. Brush size is probably fine. That's, we want to flatten. And what I've learned is you have to be super aggressive on this. We'll have some nice cliffs here. Okay, well, let's give that a try. Oh, well, it'll fit. I just don't have enough money. So let's get our get a loan in there. Okay, well, now we have our big dock, and we'll see how many people it holds and if this fixes our problem. I think what this does mean, though, is we're not going to be able to use this dock as both a cargo and a passenger harbor, because I think we're out of room here. I don't know, maybe if we did something funky here. We don't have to deal with that yet. And in fact, that does bring us to a second thing I've been thinking about offline. Go ahead and take this back off of pause. I think when this passenger ferry gets back down to here, we're going to go ahead and make this a big dock too, because it's at risk of running over. But the other thing I've thought about is I talked about a fairly convoluted cargo line, taking fuel up to Cincinnati and then bringing steel back to Evansville, dropping it off here, and then just having that line go back and forth with that, and then taking the steel over here. And I think we're still going to do that, but instead of doing that next, I think we're going to put a cargo line between Memphis and Evansville that runs bread from Memphis up to Evansville and then runs the fuel back down to Memphis. And this is a more straightforward line. It should be a big money maker, and so that's what we're going to start with. But what that means is we are going to need to do something about this this dock here, and we have a couple of choices. We can try a large dock here as well and see if that'll hold enough, at least for the time being. So let's give that a try. We're really short on money. Oh, it just wants to go out. I think instead what we're going to do is we're going to try to build out a we have a hill there. I think I'm going to try to flatten this before we do any of our work. It'll make it easier for us all to work in it. And we're going to start by putting in some pedestrian access. And then we're going to put a small cargo line there. Small one there. Yeah, and what we're going to end up doing is we'll have 3 small cargo lines here. One here, and one here. I'm not sure it's as good an option as the large, but we'll see. We'll be trying out different things at different places. It's going to cost us a ton of money to do this. Bring this in. What I might do is not worry about that outside one at first, because we only need 2. I'm short of money. So we'll see if we can So this is interesting. I'm going to see what happens here. It's telling me on this left side, docks outside of navigable waters, but I can put it in on the right. Sometimes what I find is once I put it in on the right, suddenly I can do it on the left too, but not this time. So I think we just have to go in and get a little more aggressive. Yeah. Okay, so we have 2 terminals now. We'll put another one in here at some point, but we don't need it quite yet. And then down here in Memphis, I think what we will do, we've only got 4 here now. We are going to try the larger dock here. Hopefully we'll have better luck. And Memphis Wharf, configure that. Delete that, and now can we? Oh yeah, we can get a bigger dock in. Okay, let the experimentation begin, and we could even get our landing. Alrighty, something easy. Take it off the pause, and now we'll add in the line between Memphis and Evansville. There we go, Evansville. Memphis. I'm gonna make this one kind of orange because it's gonna be running fuel and grain, which are both kind of orange. We're not gonna wait till full anywhere, but in Evansville we're gonna load fuel and we're gonna unload bread. And in Memphis we're gonna do the opposite. We're going to load bread and unload fuel. Here we go. And then we're also going to need some delivery lines in both places. So let's get those in because we're going to need them to generate demand. And let's see, we need fuel in a different place than we need tools. And I think we'll drop the oil off here. I think that captures every place that needs oil. Well, that's 3 new vehicles, only one of which is going to do us any good in the short term, and that's the stagecoach. We may use that to upgrade some of our bus lines. Okay, let's get this fuel delivery line in. Oh, let's name this cargo line first. So these are cargo barge, Evansville, Memphis. And then we'll have a delivery line from here to here. We'll color it orange again too. We're getting lots of orange lines. Now, I don't like it going all the way through town on the way back. Let's go ahead and get the get it set up first, and it's going to load fuel at the warehouse and unload at Adams Street. And we will call it a delivery Memphis fuel. Let's put a waypoint in so that we can not go through town. And we'll put it here. And then maybe it'll sneak through this direction. And we're going to edit our line. Delivery Memphis fuel, and after the drop off, we'll come back through here. Still Well, that's better. We'll let that go. And let's get some trucks on it as well. Again, we'll use the side stakes, and we're going to buy 3 to start. And this is our delivery Memphis fuel. Other thing I think I want to look at here is I want to make sure these stations are large enough. They're going to be getting really big drop-offs when these trucks come in, and they need to be able to hold while our meager number of trucks catch up. So that's sharing that line. I don't think we want that. And that's just a drop-off. So we want to put the fuel on the other line. On the other terminal. Okay. That's better. Okay. Memphis is set up to receive fuel, and then here in Evansville, we need to be able to be set up to take food. And I think we could use this same drop-off. If we look at our where we need food, it's basically all of here. And I think we pretty much get all that because, well, that won't get anything on its own, but yeah, I think that'll, wait, that's the passenger. I think we're getting there. Yep, I think that'll do. So I did, when I set this up to take the to put the drop off in for the oil, I also embiggened this cargo platform because it's going to be getting bricks and groceries. I'm going to try delivering them on the same line. And so that means that for here, we'll just set it up to also pick up bread. So bread and bricks. Here it drops off everything. And we don't need to add any trucks there. And all we need now is to add our first boat on this Evansville line. Evansville, Memphis. And I think it's going to take 2 boats because it's a pretty long trip. But I'm going to start with just one. There we go. And now we should start to see that the Evansville fuel refinery has a friend in Memphis that it's going to supply. So we should maybe we just were needing some there we go. Memphis now has 10. Okay. So that's starting to go. And down here we should be seeing a second consumer now. Yeah, Evansville here. I think what this means, though, is we need to bring this other farm online because we're maxed out on our transport of grain from the Memphis farm. And between Evansville and Memphis already, excuse me, not Cape Girardeau and Evansville. Cape Girardeau wants 41. Evansville wants 83. That's over the 100 that we can currently supply. And as these cities grow, they're gonna get bigger. So what I think we'll do here is we're gonna put a bridge in. We're gonna run a bridge from here to here, and we'll drop off. We'll set up a new grain line. So let's get this in. Well, I think we want it straight. I want to make sure I don't block our passage, so I'm going to raise this slightly, and there we go. It's not bad. Fairly flat. Preserved our navigable waters. You're it. And now we just need to get a drop off over here. Let's see, what would be a nice way to do this? I'm just going to do a small station here, opposite the bridge. The trucks can come off the bridge, drop off here, and it should be well within reach of the oh yeah, Memphis Halt. So let's create a new line. Oops, also need a station over here. We'll make this one a little bigger. And now we'll create our new line from here to here. And at the Memphis Annex, we will load grain. And at the Memphis Halt, we will unload it. And yet another kind of, and then we will buy 15 more trucks. And this time we'll get the right kind. And then we'll name this line as well. Green Trucks, Memphis 2. Okay, so that's in now too. Is this our, which ship is this? This is our cargo barge between Evansville and Memphis. Once it gets down here to Memphis, I do want to remember to put a second one in. And then passenger ferry must be around here somewhere. Oh, it's coming down. 58 people on board. And it's going to pick up another 37. It'll probably drop off some in Louisville. This line is doing nicely. 59 here, and then 3 the other direction. Yeah, once this comes down, I'm going to try to make this a bigger dock as well. We need to get all this stuff working. While we're waiting for those two to go around, I just want to spin and see how the rest of our lines are doing. This passenger ferry service is doing well between St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, and Memphis. We have 24 who want to go to St. Louis and 30 who want to go to Cape Girardeau. And that line, is it up here right now? Yeah. And it's completely full, heading out of St. Louis. And at St. Louis, we see we still have, it only left 6 behind. So these lines are running pretty nicely tuned. St. Louis, Springfield, Peoria. We have 68 coming down to St. Louis. Our tram lines here are running nicely. Springfield, everything's balanced pretty well. Peoria, and Chicago. So I think we're turning this into a pretty nice system. Ohio River. Oh, nice. So we have 17, 18. Okay, so we're now doing a pretty good job of supplying fuel here. And this is our cargo barge. It's going down empty. I go ahead and label these ships. I name them just so that when I look at them like this, I can see what they are. Now when I hover here, I know it's a passenger ferry. I don't always need to put the line in because this one, I just know it's going to be running between Evansville and Cape Girardeau. And let's take a peek at how our money's doing. So our roads are making a ton of money. You know, I think one thing I learned is putting this in is a huge money maker. I should have done this a long time ago. It pays off more, it seems like, than the farms that I had set up at the outset. But we're now in kind of a money-making stage. Yeah, look at that again. Why is this so overloaded? Is it just people who waited too long? Because they can't get on? Do we, you know, are we going to need to add another boat here? I was thinking about doing that anyway. So we have over 70 down here waiting to get on, and they're falling overboard too because they can't. The dock's too small. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I want to bring this passenger ferry down. I want it to pick up these folks, and then I want to make this dock bigger. Yeah, we are exceeding the number of people for the passenger ferry too. You know, when this gets to back to Cincinnati again, I think we probably will want to go ahead and add another boat on this line. Fact is, all the cities are now going to be growing. We're going to be bringing bread in here. Okay, so you're full. How much are you going to make? Oh, I didn't see it. So this is probably about as empty as this dock is going to get. So a good time to go ahead and let's let that ferry get out of the way. I am going to pause. Sorry about this, folks. You're going to disappear. Can we get a big one in? Oh, we can. Look at that. You know what? That actually looks really good too. And that fits. That's nice. I mean, I've got to say, this looks really nice. It looks really nice. Wow. Yeah, we are going to need, for sure, 2 boats coming down here. Is this our... Where did this boat end up? Okay, he's just heading back to Evansville. So now is the time to get the second boat on that line. And you know, this is how we're going to end, folks. We're going to hop on board our new cargo barge. This one I am going to label a little more in detail because once it hits the Mississippi, it joins some other boats. Oh, wait a minute. You can't be heading for Memphis. Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I think we're making progress. Now, when this map is done, when we hit 1885, we're going to pause. We're not going to be even close to complete in building out our river transport, but we're going to build the heck out of it. We're going to have the Frontenac, I think it is, which is a pretty nice looking steamboat. And we'll have the river just forward. This is gorgeous. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you folks next time.